Welcome everyone. Today I've got a lovely guest and a lovely friend joining us, Monique. I'm Deb Courtney from debcourtney.com and Your True Self. So I'm really pleased to finally have had that universe align and get Mon onto the show and have a chat to her. That beaming smile that you can see there is always. Now, one of the reasons I've wanted to bring Mon on is because she's had such, I've met her through doing a bit of an empowerment workshop, which was really great. And I loved also seeing how other people do things as well. So it's, even if you're in that space, to be able to then be part of someone else's space and know that we all do things differently. So that was a lovely connection that I made. And then we realized there was another closer connection with, the children, these nephews and my son being really good friends. And then, so we sort of kept on developing. We formed a nice little groups that we had for those that were in that same sort of space and like-mindedness, and come together with a few people in Broome. Mon's got a background in teaching and then bringing that together with her inspiring music gets you going on the dance floor. She's great to have up there on the band, and has always done a great circuit around Broome and the surroundings. Always gets people on their feet. You always see people up when you're up there on the stage. So obviously what you do really resonates, and I love the word you were using in our chat beforehand, and how music does resonate with us. And often you can go back to a song will physically, feel like it's physically taking you back to a memory or a time and place that, maybe you heard it and how you were feeling on that day, and it links that emotion as well. But we know that we're all energetic, vibrational beings, and so you're working from that aspect as well. So please share a little bit of what you're doing.
Yes, so thank you so much for having me on your channel today, Deb. It's really good. I'm glad we made it happen. So I just quickly, I was a teacher for many years, 18 years. I think I actually kind of have always been a teacher, as in I used to teach my brother's friends after school and stuff like that, and my brother, and set up little school rooms and stuff. But I sort of fell into it a bit, really, as an adult, but did it for 18 years, and I really think that teaching is a great place to learn about behaviour, about people, and about patterns and behaviours and habits and personalities. And anyway, I have loved it. But I've also been running, as you know, a mindset life coaching business for over 10 years. And I've got my couple of bands that I've been an active musician for 15 odd years as well. And it seems like there's a lot of different things I do, which there is, but they actually all tie in so beautifully together. And so I'm just working for myself now in my business, which is music and my coaching business. And through my coaching, I do different, like one-to-one coaching, but also workshops and courses. And I ended up, I guess, through my love of music, getting into sound healing as well through that and through my business. So I do group sound healing and one-to-one sound healings. In all my workshops, I always have some element of music, some element of talking about vibration, talking about frequency. I just can't not talk about it, because to me, it's what underpins this whole universe as we know it. I'm prepared to be taught something new if they come up with something new. But, the law of vibration, it's just, it's the law of attraction. It's everything. It's creation. So, it kind of all ties in nicely. And I even do my music circles at the moment, which is music, mindfulness and mindset.
Right. Yeah, that's a beautiful
Yeah.
combination. I know I came to one of your sound healings and it was really lovely.
Yeah.
It was outside, which is really like usually with the temperatures in Broome, it's pretty easy to do most times of the year. And I know just as you got started, a Mozzie came out and was constantly in my ear, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is so annoying. And then I thought, no, this is obviously me trying to really focus on what, you know, it must be a message being sent to me, like, no, focus.
A good message, you know, there is a message of the mosquito that if you ever doubt what impact you can make as a single person, try, you know, going to sleep with a mosquito in your ear or something like that.
So true, because I can't sleep. As soon as I know there's one around, that's it. Can't sleep until it's there anymore.
I've been actually this year with the wet season and the mozzies have not been that bad this year.
Oh, that's good.
In Broome, but you know, it's still been hot. But I've been indoors in the aircon at the loft lately, which is lovely. But we'll be
the challenge away for people.
Yeah, I'll probably through the dry I might keep one a week in a room, because rooms resonate, you know, the sound has walls to hit and come back, which is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'll also keep my once a week outdoors, because just that connection, deeper connection to nature. And I love doing the sound healing for myself. I love it, like walking around with my instruments and looking up at the stars and connecting, because you know that I am obsessed with astrology and astronomy.
Yes.
So I do love that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've read some of your posts that you do, and I'm quite amazed at how you come up with all of that, because I'm fascinated by it, but it's not an area that I've kind of explored, you know, for my own self, to figure out for my own self. So I like being able to be fed a little bit of that information along the way with your community. I love
the
that
astrology.
Right. Yeah, community.
Yeah. That just totally came to me out of nowhere. And then I was like, oh, Monique, Mon. Well, first I was like, Mon, but also Monique.
That's worked very well.
And Deb, I don't know if you know that my original music artist name is Stella Moon.
Oh, is it?
Yes. So I guess all these parts of me tying in even more through sound and astronomy and astrology. And
so what got you into, you know, the whole music thing to start with? So some people seem to just be kind of that naturally got that music in their body, in their soul.
Yeah, well, I think everybody has music in their soul. Some people just are aware of it more than others. My dad is a musician. So, I grew up around a lot of music, and he still plays in his different little bands, or different outfits, as he calls it, in Derby. And I apparently was singing before I was talking. I don't know how true that is, but Mum and Dad would say that, you know, we'd be at a restaurant or something and a song would come on and I'd start singing it, and they'd be like, where the heck did she even hear that song to know? So I picked up music really easily. And then I was put into piano lessons when I was 7. And that was classical piano. But I still really loved it. I mean, I'd sit there on our piano at home, and I would the lounge room was right there. I could see the TV, and I'd like try and listen and play this, because I was learning classical, but I'd try and play, you know, songs off Rage, or even things like the country practice theme song and stuff like that.
And now we're showing our age. All right.
Yeah, we are. But yeah, music is my life. It's in every corner, including my partner.
Yeah, so he does a lot of the sound technician stuff, doesn't he? Is that right?
Yep, he is a big sound geek. We both are. He's a sound engineer.
Yeah.
Sound engineer is the technical term, and a working musician. So he's been a musician. He's pretty much his whole adult life since he was probably 16, 17. He's been in many bands around Perth and WA. Yeah, so
when you're playing in a band, because that's really seems like it's quite far removed from doing your sound healing, because there's so much calming stuff. What do you, and I think, I've heard people talking about the fact that a lot of the music these days is at a certain frequency, which is quite a negative frequency. Do you really try and pick up on what songs that you might sing or choose to sing or write for yourself in that certain way?
Yeah, I think so. And so I know that at one stage years ago, I said to the boys in my trio, which one is my partner, I was like, I want to be known as the happy band. Let's be the happy band. And I sort of had this little mission in my head that we're just going to go out there and we're going to make people feel happy. Like, that's what I wanted. So there's a couple of songs we play that are sad, but like you already mentioned, that's what music does. It evokes an emotion, doesn't it? And sometimes it's good to hear a song that might just help us, bring out a little bit of something that we needed, even if it is grief, even if it is, but mainly happy. And then my bigger band, we just wanted to be fun, just that old 70s music and funk, soul, Motown. And yeah, I was like, let's just be fun. And with my own stuff, obviously it's much more personable, and I did often, well, I still do, a lot of times musicians will write when we're sad or when we're not, but then I guess that often the lesson as well, so we'll write as we're coming out of that challenge or that time. So I
think it's almost like a reflective process to get rid of that emotion or express, sometimes like that. It's almost like a journaling process, is it?
Totally. Yeah, totally. It's expression. And even more, I mean, just singing someone else's songs, you might be expressing, but when it's yours, you've written it, you've felt all those words, whether you're telling someone else's story, you can still be an empath, because I do write songs about other people sometimes as well. In fact, the two songs that I've recorded so far, one's called Song for Mary and the other one's Edith, and they're both not about me, they're about other people. And my album's looking to be a lot like more about society issues, but yeah, it is. It's how I feel about these things. And it's so healing, songwriting and then singing it, getting it out. Do you know, I watched Archie Roach. It was such an emotional show at the Nannup Music Festival a couple of years ago, and he wasn't well. He came out in a wheelchair and he had his oxygen bottle, and amazing show, amazing band as always. And then he's the band's getting ready to sing Took the Children Away, and he said, people ask me all the time, Archie, you're sick of singing this song? And he said, no, because every time I sing it, I heal it a little bit more. And he said, and then one day I'm just going to be all healed. And I just thought, I don't think there was a dry eye in the whole big amphitheatre. And that's what music does. And songwriting, yeah. And one of the first songs, actually it was the first song I ever performed of my own live, and then I didn't do it again for many years. It was at a competition called Rowie Idol at the Rowie. And it was about 13, 14 years ago. And I got through different stages, but I think I got kicked out or whatever and then got called back in, how they do these little things in competitions. But I thought, I'm not going to do a cover this time, I'm going to do an original. And when I finished singing it, the judges were like, one of them goes, well, I don't want to mess with you. Because it was all this like man-hating, not really, but it was my experience with a guy that treated me really badly, and I was all like, you don't know me. It was actually called You Don't Know Me, and yeah, it was a feisty song, let's just say that.
Well, that's a good place to do it, I suppose, at the Rowie.
Yeah.
For those that haven't been to Broome, the Rowie is a fairly typical outback type of pub.
Yeah. But yeah, there's places I choose to play at, and that's certainly changed over the years. Because sound healing is a very different space, because everybody is sort of tuning in. I mean, people tune in to listen to live gigs as well, but their eyes are closed. It's just listening, and yeah, it's a different space, and it's frequencies and mantras and singing light codes or whatever happens.
So what's the light code?
Oh, look, I actually don't even usually use that term. Other sound healers do, but I generally just I'm using my voice a lot more in my sound healings these days, particularly in this new venue, because it's the real resonant walls. Someone said to me the other day, wow, your voice sounded incredible in that room. And I was like, yeah, the rooms can work in your favor. They can work against you as well, but this one's in our favor.
Is that like light language? I've heard people do light language. It's almost sounds
yeah.
Yeah.
People, I mean, I'm not saying that I do that. I actually just tune in and whatever sounds come out.
Yes. Okay.
But people do term their singing as light language, but I just I tone, and sometimes actually. So I had a session last night, and at one stage I looked around the room because I thought, who's that singing with me? And people have said to me in the past, have said, at one stage I could hear someone singing with you. Like that, it's like they could hear two voices. Yeah. Over the years, a few people have said it, and last night I could kind of hear it. And
so
there were a couple of musicians / sound engineers in the room, so I looked at them straight away. But they were knocked out.
There you go. So something else is coming through. Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in that room last night. It was good.
And so when you see someone walk into the room and then when they leave the room, what do you feel like has changed? Do you notice some changes in them when they're leaving, or do they make comments? Just because I think if other people are looking into this type of, energy healing, what sort of thing would they say when they walk in and walk out?
So sound healing, I mean, first of all, there's so many different types of sound healings. From, I know there's a place in Albany which is just a gong room, so it's just all gongs, and some other people, they might just be there with a couple of bowls in their voice. I use a variety of instruments, and then other places you go, they might use loop pedals and all sorts. So it is very varied, but I guess with the high intention to allow people to be in such a deep relaxation that, is it their parasympathetic? You'd know this stuff, wouldn't you?
Calming,
and so that because that's where healing best takes place.
Yeah.
But frequencies also, because they penetrate, right, and resonate. Might be not enough time in this interview to talk about it all too much, but it sound has the ability to go through us. You think about ultrasounds and stuff that they use in hospitals, and so it can clear our stuck energy, and really move things along. And then you get things like entrainment, but that's getting a bit more specific. So getting back to the question of when people walk into the room, I get a lot of people at the end. We sit up and I say, how is everyone? And some people are still sort of coming back down to earth, so to speak, and others are just like, whoa. The funniest thing I heard one guy, when I always say, would anyone like to share their experience? And one night this guy calls out rather loudly, that's, what was the word? That's the most, I can't think of the word. Like amazing, but it wasn't amazing. That's the most spun out thing I've ever done sober. But yeah, people look either, so they look refreshed. So some people come in because they're feeling all blah, you know, and they come out. You can see on people's faces the difference, you know. They come out kind of more, I guess it's aligned and refreshed. And then there's people that are too, you know, and their heart, you can tell at first before I sort of really drop myself, I'm going around the room and I can feel the people that are a bit harder to drop.
Right.
Because they've got a lot on their mind, I guess, and things like that. So those people come out a bit more, because I just feel like people get what they need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sound healing. And one of the places I keep saying I need to ask clients if I can take photos is the one-to-one sound healings, because when they get up off the massage table, they sit up and, you know, we're just going very slowly and I've got water there for them, and most, for their first time, it's like, whoa, what just happened? Like they're really in awe, because I think, I don't know, sound and frequencies, it's just a really profound healing. And I think because we are sound, like our whole body has, we are a bunch of frequencies wrapped in skin, you know, like the whole known universe vibrates. So we have a vibration, we have a frequency. Different parts of us have different frequencies. We have a healthy frequency and we have a frequency that's not so healthy. And just like a guitar needs a tune-up, so do we. And of course, there's many ways to get one, from, you know, float therapy and meditation and yoga and massage, and if we've got lots of deep stuff to deal with, you know, there's counseling, there's coaching. It's all really powerful. And I always say to people, go where you feel, you know, and then once you've had that, you might go to something else after that, Reiki or whatever it is. But and trusting, I guess, that people always get what they need. And I feel with sound, just, I guess, it's not a talk therapy, is it? It's very much to do with the body. Yeah.
I suppose it's a little bit like, you know, when you do that sort of ripple effect in the water and you drop or you can actually hear, obviously there's frequencies that run through water, and that's how dolphins and that communicate. And most of us, you know, our majority of us are, you know, 70% or so of water, our body makeup, so it can pass through, you know, and send those messages through.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time I ever experienced a sound healing, and it wasn't a sound healing, but she did use sound. It was an energy healing, and I walked into the little room and laid down on this little mattress on the floor, and I actually didn't really know what she was going to do, but I was really not well, and I was seeking whatever I could. And she, you know, ran her hand. I had to close my eyes, but I know she was going over me. Would have been like some sort of Reiki energy stuff. And, you know, my body was twitching a bit as she did it. And then she'd tone over me. And whoa, I'd like, all my breath would come out, or like just different things. It was just subtly, but not subtly, like little shakes in my body, you know. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. And so
That was before sound healing was
okay.
trendy.
But there is, I guess, as well, it's becoming we're aware that now we were aware earlier, but it's like it got covered up for a long time, and now our awareness is coming back to what would have been those sorts of traditional type of healing methods, as opposed to perhaps as opposed to the word alternative, but more the traditional types of healing that are available, and not one size fits all. Some people will get a lot of benefit from different varying degrees between sound healing and perhaps naturopathy and homeopathy, Reiki, and so all of these sorts of combinations are available, and it's, I guess,
so many,
about trying to find that right fit for you. Was it you that told me some time back about, was it an oncologist that had been diagnosed? Was it you that was talking about that? I remember at one of our meetings, and that he decided not to go ahead with any chemotherapy with a cancer diagnosis, and then his solution was to not solution, but he just felt the way he wanted to handle it was just to perhaps enjoy his time left, but he would lay on the floor and listen to something like Beethoven, and then he remembers at one point where he just knew that everything because it must have been that right healing frequency, where he just knew that it was gone.
Amazing. That wasn't me, but that's amazing. I've got these books just sitting right here, actually. What I thought you might have been talking about was it that one? Yeah, this one. This guy, he is an oncologist. Yeah, and in fact, I haven't finished it, but he stumbles into sound healing, and but it's I haven't heard anything about Beethoven yet, but his patients, one of his patients.
But I just remember it was a classic kind of composer.
Yeah.
Which one? But
wow. Yeah, well, this in that book, he ends up using sound with his patients. Yeah, and I haven't read the end yet, so I'll let you know what happens. But he did it with one person, one patient, because they already used that sort of modality, because I think he was actually maybe even a Tibetan monk. And then he taught the doctor about using bowls and breathing and all that, and it worked so well. I think at that point, alongside that, his other treatment, that he started to use it with many patients, and found that doing that with their treatment made them improve. They improved much quicker.
Right. Yeah.
So the ones that use the bowls as well.
Yeah, not necessarily an exclusive, like you can only use this or this. It's, to me, about integrating different methods into what works with different people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, integrative approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that was the story I just remembered, but can't remember who told me that now. But I'll have to figure that one out.
Yeah.
So what got you then into the idea of, the coaching side of things? And because you work with women, don't you? Or it doesn't matter?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. But I have worked mainly with women. That's just how it's happened. I have had quite...
Women are likely to go seeking that kind of help. I wonder if that's the reason being a bit more open to going and chatting about things or addressing things.
Yeah, well, so as it's happened, a lot of my groups have ended up being just women. But I have had a lot of one-to-one coaching sessions with men. So I've had a lot of men, with the one-to-one coaching. And so life coaching, I mean, I coached with the Coaching Institute in Melbourne, or learnt through them. 3 years of going back and forward to Melbourne, from Melbourne to Broome and back. And I did that because I loved my school job being a music teacher, but I wanted something more. I've always been interested in how people work, including myself, obviously, like, the psychology behind, and how come, in one family, what determines, one person being able to grow from, certain challenging situations, and someone else to sort of stay in the challenging situation, and all that sort of stuff. And one day I went to a talk at the Broome Library, and the lady was introduced as a life coach. And again, I'd never heard of a life coach before. So it was before it was trendy. I was cool before it was, no, just joking. But I would get on my computer at home and I'd research, trying to figure out what it is, because I'd read some Louise Hay and some Wayne Dyer, and I was like, I want to share this stuff with the world. And I'd look up social work. I don't really want to be I actually did a unit of social work when I was doing teaching, and I did a unit of psychology. I think I was always searching, is it counselling? No, it's not. I don't really want to be a counsellor. And lo and behold, this lady, and she was hilarious, actually, and I loved what she had to say. She was introduced as a life coach. Her and someone actually through the education department that did some capacity building with us, and through that taught us about neural pathways. So I was like, everyone needs to know about neural pathways. This needs to be in all the curriculums.
Yeah.
So
what if that was in all the curriculums, that sort of stuff? Like, some of this stuff could be in the curriculums, that's for sure.
I feel like it's coming.
Yeah.
It's all coming, these new ways of doing things. And so, I ended up studying life coaching, and what a journey. I feel like it made me 100% better teacher straight off. And then here I am, and I do love running workshops. I love doing circles. I do love teaching.
Yeah, well, to me, that you're doing that teaching healing, sometimes you need to learn about the stuff first to then be able to heal your stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe. So it's a nice combination.
And I feel like, to me, if someone learns it, then it's the old bloody, there's another story about that. What is it? If you give a man or give a person fish, you feed them for the night. Teach them how to fish, you feed them for life. And I feel like if we teach people, I could sit and tell someone what the moon in Aries is doing for them in their birth chart for astrology, for example. But they're only going to see it they're only going to know it if they see me and ask me, But if you teach them about how the moon cycles work and how the stars work, or same as the law of vibration, I could they could come for a session with something and do some things, even, like some life coaching or NLP or whatever. But when you teach them how the brain works, or how the law of vibration works, how frequencies work, people have that to take home and use with them forever,
Yeah. Yeah. So you're not really then making them rely on you, and they can become that independent. And, so many say that we can heal ourselves. Our body is amazing. Ours, it just astounds me every day, and that's why I think I did what I did, because I just find that the body and the mind is so fascinating, and we're now really trying to connect those together, that they're not separate entities. The mind, soul and body are just not separate entities, and trying to work with all three at the same time, that nice holistic approach that you can then incorporate.
Yeah.
You need to try and do a session of sound healing, get your tuning forks out or whatever that you do. We could actually just record a session.
We could.
That would be.
Yeah, we could do that for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to try and do that. And then maybe also down the track, maybe talk us through some of your moon astrology and astronomy, even though we might not know it all ourselves, but maybe share what's going on.
Yeah, just the very basics, which I can come another time and talk about.
Yeah.
Just the very basics of working with the moon cycle, which is the 28-day cycle. So us women, we know the 28-day cycle, I think that just that part, because astrology is massive. I'm still learning. We're always learning, right? There's so much I don't know, but then other people look at me and say there's so much you do know. But just that moon cycle, I would love to come back and talk about that sometime, because it's helped me so much in my life and actually in my business on how to plan and live and be supported by the phases of the moon.
Yeah. And because I think, I may have had this conversation with someone else, but I just see we know in the health industry that there has to be something to do with the moon. We might not know what, but we do notice, like anyone that's worked in ED or in mental health all know, or aged care, you all know that there's, of course, it's full moon. So there must be something in it, because if you've worked in that industry long enough, you do know that, that's why tonight's like it is, because we're on a full moon cycle.
Yeah.
So
apparently all emergency services have more call outs. This is a statistic, right? Have more call outs on the full moon than any other time.
Yeah, you just need to have worked in those areas, and that's probably where you notice it the most, because of behaviour changes and presentations and
and education as well.
Well,
children.
So you're seeing it as well from that point of view. Absolutely.
Is it a full moon? Yes, it is.
All right, phew, I can calm now. Sometimes when you realise, you're like, okay, well, that makes sense, and you can deal with it a little bit better.
Yeah, well, that's right. That I feel like that's the key.
Yeah.
And it's the same as our menstrual cycle. If we know that we're premenstrual, we can maybe try not to book out our schedule so much, because we might want a bit more quiet time, and once it's empowering, once you know.
Yeah. Well, a friend of mine that I've had on here before, she really kind of specialises in that idea of the cycle, the female cycle, and how to work with it. And
great.
I'll have to get her back on again as well. And because that definitely is something that we can see changes in. So we know our hormones are reacting in certain ways that we can then nurture ourselves through that.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks
for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You're just a woman of so many talents, and I just love listening to. I know music does something for me, and I actually don't have it on very much, and I think the part of that was being in Broome, where most of your drives were about 5 minutes or less, and so you didn't really have a lot of, almost didn't fit a whole song in sometimes when you were you kind of get out of it a little bit, and especially with kids, I know I used to turn off the radio, because a lot of the what they can say now on radio is a little bit different to what they were allowed to say when we were growing up. So I think, I don't know if I need all of that on there right now. But kind of choose your music and choose what you're listening to, and you can see the choices, can't you? Some people will almost want to go and choose the sort of music that helps them wallow a little bit longer. And
Yeah.
then they can wallow a little bit longer in their misery. So it's almost like they automatically choose that music and then when you're ready to kind of get on, you're going to choose that happy band music.
Look, I remember being an angry teenager and cranking Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses. And then when we needed a cry, we'd crank something like Hero by Mariah Carey or something. Yeah.
Definitely something in it with the music and the vibrations. So
it sure is.
I'll be back on. And can people find you anywhere in particular?
Yeah, I'm everywhere.
Anywhere else out there?
Yeah, look, Facebook, Instagram under Monique Livia. And where else am I? I actually have a YouTube channel that's about to get some love as well. And a podcast soon, hopefully. But yeah, Facebook and Instagram are my main places.
Pop the links up on
cool.
In the comments area or description, all that high tech stuff.
Yeah.
The IT stuff
sure.
that isn't out.
Or that biz. Delegate.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'd love to get you back on and perhaps do a session and we can just I can close my eyes and tune in as well for a healing session.
Yeah, we could do like a chakra alignment or something.
That'd be brilliant. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for coming on. I'll put those links in the description. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Okay.
And please share this sort of information with other people. Like and subscribe to the channel. That would be really great, and get that sort of, other sort of healing methods out there, and just basically helping people find who their true self is, because sometimes we have to dig a little bit deeper to find that core essence of ourselves. And it can take a little while and be a little bit of a journey. So, please share to whoever you like. That'd be great. And Mon, thanks so much. And I will.
Thank you. All right. See you later.